mention some of the specific, more recent challenges that adolescents face in Western culture: drugs and alcohol. There's tremendous pressure in this age group to make decisions about use of drugs and alcohol and other mind-altering substances, smoking cigarettes, and so forth. And what we know now, there's been a lot of study on this in the last several decades, is that people who start using substances that have brain effects are really at a disadvantage of, just for example, if a kid starts smoking marijuana at age 12, it stops the emotional growth that comes from having to deal with experience naked. The drug acts as a protective screen between you and the reality that you're trying to learn about and come to terms with. And so for kids who use it chronically, that aspect, that line of development just stops. So when young people who, for example, use alcohol in their teens and then sometime in their 20s are able to stop using alcohol, they discover, to their shock, that they still feel like they're 15 when they started using. This effect, this limitation of brain development, is now documented, and it makes life very difficult for these kids. Another thing that's happening now, in the last few years, has to do with the amount of information that is instantly available because of the internet and iPods and iPhones, and being able to have all kinds of distractions and instant conversations and information. And there are wonderful things about it, but also we have no idea what the impact of that is on developing brains. We have no idea. Ever since the advent of television, this has been a point of discussion. And there has been lots of research on the impact of television on the development of child and adolescent brains. And when computer games, video games came along, it was even more of an issue because they are hypnotizing in a way that TV is not. They involve the brain in such a way that kids are really hypnotized by the experience. On its face, it's not a problem. But these are environmental stimuli that in the past were not available to kids in the way that they are today. So we don't know about the impact on developing brains and on psychological development. And again, I am not saying that they're bad, simply that we don't know about their long-term effects. Another thing to realize about adolescents is that they are experiencing their first true autonomy, being able to go out on their own without adult protection all the time. And they are seeking stimulation. It's not as if they're trying to be careful. They are trying to be stimulated. They will take risks, and they will seek stimulation until they either have a problem, or a car wreck, or come to their own realization as to what they need to focus on and what they need to do. And this is a normal, necessary process at this age. But what is different today is that there are these new ways to become involved in stimuli that may not be helpful and could be harmful.